Peace, peace. You're now tuned into the vault. This is your host, Sharif Ali. Just want to thank you for tuning in live. Good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Just want to thank you for tuning in to an awesome night and day. Good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. So, this is your host, Sharif Ali. You're tuned into the vault. We come on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What is that? 7 Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. Today we're going to be talking about some really good topics and some things that I know that is very important to you all. I just want to say thank you all for tuning in live or listening in to the replay. We have a ton of people that are reaching out on a continuous basis through the website welcometothevault.com. I have a ton of people reaching out through the email hfrn period vault at gmail.com, vault like the show. So hfrn period vault at gmail.com. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about how you can make $1 and have private jets and mansions and all that good stuff. I just want to thank you, the Black Podcasters Network, for tuning in live. Uh, just looking forward to giving you all some great information. So we're going to move forward from there. So just want to thank you all. Point is, we're going to go into our topic tonight. It says, once again, most individuals don't understand what's going on, so I'm going to talk about Bomo. Thank you for tuning in live. I just want to go in and talk about this subject tonight because a lot of people, they hear a lot of Fortune 500 CEOs and they're talking about how they pretty much don't pay taxes or they take $1 from their company and in turn their company's valued at, half a bazillion dollars and all this good stuff. So I just really want to talk about this. Thank you, Janine Smith, for tuning in live. I do have an actual case study today that I want to talk about, but the main thing is the reason why you see these Fortune 500 CEOs taking $1 is because these individuals are practicing the own nothing, control everything mentality. They practice what is it we teach in Trustee training, which is to utilize trust contracts, to utilize contracts to actually manage their affairs, to practice tax avoidance, and things of that nature. Those things that are perfectly legal. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you the name of the. I'm not going to tell you the name of the individual right away, but you all can go look up this company. It's called GoldMoney.com. Goldmoney.com, and you all should go and kind of read the Wikipedia aspect of it, because I think that it'll give you all a good understanding of what is it that you're dealing with when it comes to individuals that are practicing this. And the reason why I point it out is because the owner that's actually, thank you, Angelique, for tuning in live. The main reason why I pulled up this particular company, Gold Money, is because I've had a lot of people come to me, ask me about gold and silver and all those good things. And this company, Gold Money in particular, so just give me a second to pull it up through the Wikipedia. And I'm going to share something with you all. And I'm going to show you quite clearly how individuals are practicing tax avoidance right in front of your eyes. As the individuals think that, this is some type of game. So if you go and just Google it, you'll see that Gold Money is a global full reserve gold-based financial services company founded by James Turk and Robert Seabag and Josh Crum. You can see the subsidiaries. You can see the company right here in front of your eyes on Gold Money. This is through the actual internet. It's valued at $524 million. Okay, so as you can see, there's founders. I want to point out keyword to you. It's a founder. It doesn't mean that they're the owner. Okay, that just because they founded something doesn't mean they own it anymore. Okay, that means that they structured it to where they're not the owner, but they're the founder. So as I was looking up this company, the first name of the founders was Roy Seabag, Roysebag. So let's look at Roy Seabag. Thanks, Bomo, for tuning in live. Roy Seabag is and you can Wikipedia him, so when you click on his name, you can see who Roy Seabag is, and then in turn move forward with how everything's working out. It says Roy Seabag is a contrarian investor, entrepreneur, and writer. It says in 2014 he founded Gold Money. and he's the chief executive officer. So people take that title CEO and they still think you own it just because you're called the CEO, and they think they're the boss because they're the CEO. Chief executive officer is just what it says. That means you're an executive officer. It does not mean you're the owner. But when you continue to look over on the right hand side of Wikipedia, it says GoldMoney Incorporated, $1. He has an annual salary of $1. Okay, now this is a company once again that's revenuing over $500 million a year. So why is it that he's generating one a year? That's because he has a structure to where he has many subsidiaries, many under level corporations, and he's also taking advantage of publication 15B, but it's actually a Toronto based company. So that doesn't mean that he might be taking advantage of the what was considered the IRS for Canada and things of that nature. It's a Canadian company. But point being is that this individual, Roy Seabag, it's in real simple. This individual, Roy Seabag, is generating $1 from a company that's annually grossing, revenuing actually $500 million. How is that so? It's because he's practicing the own nothing control mentality. He has the mentality of I don't need to collect money. I need to utilize a thing called fringe benefits. So yes, he takes advantage of a clothing allowance. Yes, he takes advantage of a food allowance. Yes, he takes advantage of a housing allowance. Okay, don't think he's not taking advantage of being able to live wherever he wants in the world on behalf of the actual company itself. That is how all wealthy people are living. So I really wanted to point out Roy Seaback because this isn't Donald Trump. I know a lot of people, they hear me and I say Donald Trump, he comes on TV as he comes on TV and he says, that he doesn't own, that he doesn't have any money coming to him, and he doesn't have to file any personal tax returns. And, people kind of get a little salty about it and they wonder why is it that that's the case. It's because he has his affairs structured the correct way. See, it's all about being properly structured, and it also means that you have the proper education. When you talk to Donald Trump, he says he actually has mastered the tax code. And when you even think about Roy Seabag, clearly Roy Seabag has actually mastered the tax code. But to put you into another mindset, Roy Seabag is backed by some very wealthy individuals. George Soros, many wealthy individuals, because wealthy people hang out together. The information is hoarded by wealthy people. They don't not work together. When they see that you've achieved a certain level of income, you actually get into what's considered a wealth club, and you don't share secrets. So him saying that he's collecting $1, he's not going to tell you that he's not beneficiary of any of the money. Okay, the company since 2000, it's only been around since 2015, but the company's generating millions of dollars a year, and he's pulling down $1 salary, and there's other companies that he's managing. Okay, so I just wanted to point this out to you all because I think that this is a very critical individual to assess and look at when a lot of individuals are thinking about setting up their affairs. Sometimes you'll see, once again, a lot of Fortune 500 companies set up as public companies, but on the back end of that, they have a private owner. So it's a private corporation. That means that there's a contract in place, but that doesn't mean Zuckerberg still doesn't make financial decisions for the company. That doesn't mean that Roy Seabag doesn't make financial decisions. He's a chief executive officer. He's definitely making executive decisions for the company. It's the same exact thing. The only difference is he's utilizing a private wealth system of education. It's that simple. And that is why I've conducted and started training people on what we call trustee training. Is so you can understand how trustees set up their entities, how entities are set up and how they administer these entities, and how he literally can ride around in a private jet on the dime of the company wherever he wants to go in the world. Whether it was for him to go to Disney World with the company expense for entertainment or not, for him to treat friends and family to a baseball game or a football game, because it's an entertainment expense for the company, it's for the company. So just want to point that out. Thanks, Trey Stone, for tuning in live. Bomo. The Black Podcaster Network says, is this the same thing as corporate donating millions of dollars to their own charity? Exactly. The only difference is exactly, Bill and Melinda Gates. So that's a great example. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is a beneficiary of Microsoft, Bill Gates pretty much is has a contract in place because trusts are contracts. There's a contract in place that says all the proceeds, instead of him receiving capital gains tax on the stock, that those monies will go directly to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and in turn, pretty much the what is that? Microsoft's receiving an actual tax deduction. Did you forget that? Because the foundation is a tax exempt entity. So Microsoft's receiving a tax deduction for giving money away. See, I was raised in this information where wealthy people make more money giving it away. They don't need to do anything. They don't need to use tax loopholes. This isn't a tax loophole. It's common sense. The common sense about it is the fact that they don't own it. They control it. Why? Because Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is an actual is generally most of the time they're going to be set up in trust contracts where they kind of have it set up a little bit more in their control. So that's one of the biggest things is that you want to have it set up to where you're in control of the actual assets, and that's what Bill Gates definitely is. He's still managing the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, even though it's a foundation. So it's those type of structures and structuring mentality, and having that mentality of making sure that your affairs are structured appropriately so you can receive your wealth, pass on your wealth, and pass it on tax free. When you all think that Warren Buffett's not going to pass on wealth to his children, he's not going to pass it on directly to them directly. But don't think that there aren't going to be entities in place for their children to take advantage of, or his children or his grandchildren to take advantage of the Buffett estate through charity, or through private trusts that are set up. Okay, so it's just really important. But I think in the United States, a lot of people haven't been trained to know how to give money away and make money. But everything in the United States is based off of giving money away. Even when you buy things, it's based off of giving money away. The only difference is it being a business expense, and that's it, or is it a personal expense? Personal expenses, clearly you're not going to be able to be writing off like that, and it's limited. But when it comes to certain styles of entities, particularly trust, those expenses are write offable. So this isn't legal advice. This is something that you always tell people, talk to some type of lawyer. And I really don't say some type. When you get in private trustee training, you learn that you want to go to an estate planner. We have a questionnaire that you utilize to go talk to an estate planner for them to find a great estate planner, because your estate planners are going to be more knowledgeable about what I'm talking about. An average lawyer on the street does not know what I'm talking about. They're trained in their state law. That's why they have a state bar card. They're not trained in international entities. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is an international entity. Okay, it's doing charitable work internationally. It's taking a tax deduction or giving tax deductions to people internationally. That's important. And so some people say, was this information only for rich people and things of that nature? Once again, I'll point out these people, particularly Bill Gates. He dropped out of college, so he didn't start out with millions. J.D. Rockefeller didn't start out with millions. Carnegie didn't start out with millions. What's his name? The Kennedys kind of, built their wealth as a team, but there are quite a few families, most families in the United States. Stats show that most millionaires, 80% of them, actually are first generation millionaires in the United States. So you can go look that up. But at the end of the day, and that's a great opportunity for you. That means the odds of you actually doing it are very high. You being the first chance millionaire in your family. Okay? And so using these styles of thought process will actually put you in a position to pass on your wealth, and do it in a manner in which you control it, because the Bill and Melinda Gates entity is still controlling their tax liability. They're literally sitting in front of you controlling their tax liability. And the unique thing about the United States at this point is individuals are controlling their tax liability by using charities, not just by using trust, or not just by using what is that? Corporate entities. They're controlling their tax liability by using charities. Okay, so very, very important, very, very essential in your knowledge base and what is it that you want to do. So I just want to point that out to you all, that it's about tax minimization. It's about control. It's about flexibility. These individuals are able to control their liability through using entities and still maintaining control over their wealth. So it's very important for you all to grasp how to make sure your families are supposed to be set up so you actually can pass on your wealth and do the same thing wealthy people are doing. And it's not illegal. This is Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution, which is you have the right to contract. Um, right to contract. Not they're not giving you a right; they're protecting that right. They're actually protecting your right to contract unlimited. And trust is nothing more than a contract. So it's very, very essential for you to understand that. And practicing tax avoidance is perfectly legal. I can show you all Supreme Court cases. Gregory versus Helvering. So you know how to spell Gregory and Helvering. Helvering. Gregory versus Helvering. If you Google that, you can see that it is perfectly legal for individuals to set up their affairs in a position of, you know, contracts and living their lives that way. So very, very important. The first key to setting yourself up is setting you and yourself and your family up is to put your money in the correct tax position. That's the first thing. And so, just want to point out to you all, that's why I created Trustee Training. I'm building a community of individuals that understand the importance of charity because charity is important. I feel like I have a charitable heart, and this is why I'm doing what is it that I'm doing. I'm putting together a community of entrepreneurs that want to do the same exact thing because that's the way it's always going to be. It's always going to be one person and a group of people coming together to actually, build some type of beneficial society for mankind and help them out. And so that's really, really important to actually be doing. So if you would like to find out how to enroll in trustee training, there's actually a cutoff period coming up here, which is the 15th of September, because I think we're in September right now. And so I did want to throw that out there to you all. Trustee Training has quite a few students in it right now, and I really like focusing on the people that I'm dealing with. I give them the most highest level of my attention. I do have enrollment periods. I do have other senior trustees that are able to do trainings and things of that nature. We do workshops. So if it's something where you want to book me or one of my senior trustees as far as a training for a workshop for your area, please feel free to email us at hfrn.vault@gmail.com and you can find that out. But it's very, very important to be able to make sure that your family and your community is set up correctly. All your major institutions are set up the same exact way. So I'm excited about sharing, the information with people. I'm going to be doing a lot of rebranding here. I just want to let you all know that I'm doing some rebranding. Going to be upgrading the vault, revealing and doing a lot more transparency on the personal end. So I think a lot of people want to be able to get to meet me on a little bit more personal basis. And I know a lot of people haven't seen any video from me, and I just think that it's time to kind of branch out and kind of show a little bit more quality that I have to offer when it comes to lifestyle. I think a lot of people, they don't know what they don't know. I don't have a job. I haven't had a job for years. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18 years old, and I like it that way. I've always been able to support myself. But when you understand that rich people don't pay taxes, your lifestyle can be greatly enhanced very, very quickly. So when you go do your research on Roy Seabag, you can see he hasn't even been in business for 2 years, and this individual is a multimillionaire. And that's based off of the fact that he understands how to have the correct structure in place. That's all it comes down to. So I'm definitely open to taking any of your questions. Feel free to type into the chat. You can feel free to ask any questions that you want. I'm here to answer any of your questions. And I'm going to move forward. So I just want to thank you all once again for tuning in live. Like I say, just going to be doing some rebranding here, revealing a lot more about myself. Because like I say, when you're in a position of own nothing, control everything, it's not like I can be sued for anything or taxed for anything, because everything is done inside of trust. We always operate inside a contract. So, that's how we will operate. Black Podcasters Network says, what would be a good starting point? I mean, that's kind of a vague question when you say, I don't know when you say what would be a good starting point. Like, when people say what's a good starting point, like, you want to enroll in trustee training. That's the starting point. Because if you're not in trustee training, how are you going to learn about private trust? That's what I'm talking to you all about, is about private trust. I'm not talking to you about public trust. Public trust are things you can go to an attorney in your local area and ask them about. I'm talking about private trust because the information I'm talking about comes from me being trained from a private mentor and me creating a private community and training other trustees to actually live out that same exact lifestyle, is to own nothing, control everything. So the first starting point is to email us at hfrn.vault@gmail.com and enrolling in trustee training. Outside of that, I mean, there's not much else to to do. I mean, you can read a publication on the internet. It's called Express Trust, and I'll type it into the chat. Express Trust under the common law. But I mean, there's more to it than just that manual. Is a PDF. Do you have a link to sign up for the courses? Once again, a lot of people, they email me and they want to know like prices and things like that. But like, it's a course, it's a private trustee training. Like, I'm definitely very wise and discerning about who we actually allow in our trustee training. So when you email us, there is a process, a vetting process that you go through, and it starts with getting a consultation. So hfrn period vault at gmail.com is where you would inquire to actually get going with trustee training, getting a consultation to see if it's a good fit, see if we can work together, see if it's a symbiotic relationship, because that's what it's all about. It's about relationships in the private. It's not about money. It's about relationships. You're gonna make a ton of money because you're doing that. You're an entrepreneur, or you should be doing that in whatever you're doing. So it's more about the relationships, making sure you're safe. Like I say, public people are liabilities because they want to own everything. So uh, Janine Smith said, "Do you need a business to sign up for the trustee training?" No, I actually did an episode. I did an episode. Well, you have a job. The least you can do is get a family trust, and start making it a point to have a family trust and move forward in trustee training because I mean, obviously you're paying for your expenses and they're out of pocket expenses. You can't write off everything because your quote unquote legal name is a legal statutory entity. So in turn, there are ways that as a trustee administering your private family trust, there are things that you can make sure that your family takes advantage of because your family is a business. I always tell people that like you think you're in business for yourself, but you're not. You're really in business for your family, your last name, and in turn, you should be taking advantage of the fact that your family is a business, and things of that nature. So you don't necessarily have to have a business, but your family is a business, so you're always going to have a business. And that's the most important part. You have to think of your family as a business, whether it's you as a single person or even the entities in general. Even if you have a traditional business in general, you want to make sure that you focus on having, your family's a business. Period. It has expenses, doesn't it? Everything's run as a business. That's why I did an episode the other day on man versus fiction because everything is commercial. Everything is business. It's a unfortunate reality that people have been trained in the public school system that doesn't teach them about business. It teaches them about how to get a job, and that's the most important part. Everything is business. It's never personal. That's why they call it a legal person. It's not personal. It's commercial persons. That's everyone's using a commercial person. Everyone's using a business person. People have been lulled to sleep and not thinking that they actually are their lives are businesses and carrying it and such. So in turn, there's actual tax deductions or write-offs that you're able to utilize because your family's a business. The things that you're doing are business related and things of that nature. So very, very essential there. Definitely going to take any questions here. Feel free to please type into the chat. But once again, I definitely, for all you all that are just tuning in live, I definitely recommend that you go back to the beginning of the episode, do your research on a company called GoldMoney. They're generating over $500 million a year. But at the end of the day, the owner of the actual company, excuse me, or the founder of the company, he's still technically, he's not called the owner. Why? Because he doesn't want to be tax liable for money. He's practicing tax avoidance. So he gives himself $1. That's what it comes down to. So he's practicing tax avoidance. He's giving himself $1, but you best believe that there are other entities in place to actually help him benefit from the fact that he doesn't need to take down any money. He's taking advantage of fringe benefits. That's why you see these individuals have huge insurance policies on them. That's where the money's going. The insurance policies, the credit cards that's paying for dinners, that's business dinners and things of that nature. Paying for the company car that he drives around in all day. So I just want to thank you all for tuning in live or in the replay. Um, it's really simple, to make it a point to structure your affairs or make sure your affairs are done in the correct manner, proper manner. And that's up to you to do that. That's not up to, that's not up to me. That's not up to anybody but yourself. This is a do-it-yourself process, just like Roy Seaback did, but at the same time, back themselves with a community, and you all can see who Roy Seabag is working with. He's working with some very wealthy people. Why? Because he fell into some knowledge, and that was the point of me bringing up Rockefeller and a lot of other individuals. Is these individuals drop out with high school educations, and then in turn are able to generate millions and billions of dollars. Why? Because it's not about it is about what you know. You definitely have to know a certain amount of knowledge, but that certain amount of knowledge is going to dictate who you associate with. That's going to dictate your network. So when I say I'm putting together a private community, that's what it is. It's going to help you maintain your privacy. So when I have people email me and say, "Well, can you tell me who's went through the system successfully?" No, I'm not going to do that. But do I have I created a community that you can join and become a part of? Yes, and then you can meet those individuals. It's a secret society. It's a private. I just told you all. It's a private trustee training. It has nothing to do with people in the public saying, "Hey, oh, I know you." Why? Wealthy people don't want to be known. They just want to be rich. There's a big difference. There's a lot of quote unquote rich people that they broke by the time they die, and then on the back end of that, when they try to pass their wealth on, they're not passing it in the correct position. So yeah, definitely, Angelica. Thank you for tuning in live, and I look forward to seeing your emails. Trey Stone, he says, "I've been digging into this info. It's mind blowing. We'll be signing up for trustee training. I can't do nothing but eat and sleep this now, and I need some solid guidance." Like I say, that's why I started trustee trainings, because anybody could sell you a trust. Especially when it comes into like people try to say this, that, and the third about what is that, like, oh, I gotta get a common law trust, or I gotta go get a business trust. First of all, there is business trust. It's a business held in trust. I can take you all to the IRS website where it tells you the IRS doesn't accept or doesn't acknowledge what's called a business trust. See, the information that we're talking about is private. They're not going to tell you in the public what you're supposed to say, how you're supposed to say it. It's public. Okay? They enjoy taking people's estates away from them. Rich people put the laws in place to make sure that certain people didn't get the knowledge in the first place. That's why they set the laws up that way. Rich people wrote the law. Poor people didn't write the laws, tax laws and otherwise. So when you hear these politicians saying, "Oh, we're going to make sure that we give tax deductions and everything," won't you go look at the politicians' track record? How much money are they really making a year? They're not. Most politicians are set up through foundations. They're set up through blind trust, BLIND trust, blind trust. So they don't even have money coming to them. They have it going into their trust. And then they sit there talking about they're going to lower the tax rate. Why? They don't got no money coming directly to them. But individuals want to fall for the dupe. And it's okay. So it's up to you all to make it a point to practice passing on your wealth generationally. This information that I'm talking about is not for everybody. Some people are just want to watch the playoffs. That's it. They don't want to live for their children. It's about living for your family long term. And that's the biggest issue. Most people, who knows if they want to live for their family long term, but I do. And that's kind of what it comes down to. So I'm not going to be long-winded on this episode. Feel free to type into the chats any more questions. I appreciate all the feedback tonight from you all. It's been great. Bomo, you all, thank you so much for just tuning in live. And like I say, share it with your friends and family, because that's the most important thing. When I started out in this style of information, I did have two other good friends of mine that started out on this journey with me when it comes to trust, and we all went in together. So I encourage you all, if you're not able to do it on your quote unquote own, you might want to talk to some of your friends and see, hey, look, we need to get in trustee training together, and we can be trustees of a trust together. It's that simple. This isn't hard. You got to do it with other people sometime. That's what I love about this information. It fosters community. It fosters partnership. It fosters trust. So very, very important. Thank you, Black Podcasters, for posting the show. I appreciate that dearly. Always a pleasure. So, I just want to share that with you all today. If you all have any more questions, if you don't, I'm definitely probably going to hop off here. And like I say, definitely going to be doing some rebranding and sharing more of myself with you all. Kind of see my face. I know on Facebook you all see my face, but at the end of the day, I think people just kind of want to see, like, okay, is this guy real or not? I'm very real. I have workshops. So, I had 2 workshops this year, had a workshop last year. Actually going to do another workshop here at the end of this year. And so want to do it on the West Coast in particular. So, I do workshops. This is not something that, I need to hide about. It's own nothing, control everything. You're not going to sue me for anything anyways. So what difference does it make? It's about you administering your family estate or your businesses or whatever you're administering as a trustee. It's just that simple. So, we don't have any more questions. I just want to say peace and blessings. I thank you all. But please make it a point to understand that there has to be a position that you take. It's about the position. It's not about the title. You can still be called the founder. You can still be called the owner. Well, you can't be called the owner. You don't want to be called the owner. But even still, you can still be called the owner and still not be receiving all of the money. It's not about the title, but taxes do chase title. It's about who on legal documentation is actually the owner. And those are things that you may never know. Once again, go to a public lawyer, ask them to set up a private corporation for you and see what they say. Bomo says this is why some municipalities have trustees to run them. Of course, because it's a trust. Everything's set up in trust. And what is a trust? A trust is a contract. That's it. All municipalities are started based off of a contract. Everything's contracts. And that's, I think, the biggest thing is people don't read the Constitution. The Constitution is a trust contract between men and men, vouching for men and women. And so it started off of you keeping your word. That's why it's called a trust, because you're supposed to keep your word. You're supposed to have integrity. And I think those are things that make people uphold these styles of structures where you don't see these entities falling, but you see individual taxpayers falling all the time. Because they're individuals. They don't practice trust. They practice shadiness, trying to deduct everything on the planet instead of just utilizing the proper tax forms to actually administer their life. So, yes, definitely, everything's going to be set up in trust. That's why you see most charitable things set up as a trust. Colleges, libraries, all type of stuff set up as a trust, which is nothing more than a contract. So, if we don't have any more questions, I'll stay on for another minute or so. Otherwise, I just want to thank you all for tuning in live. I appreciate you all greatly. It's been an honor. I definitely will do some micro content this week on Facebook. But other than that, share this with your friends and family so you all can start having these wealth conversations. How you going to get wealthy if you're talking about broke stuff? You got to talk about rich stuff. It's that critical. You got to talk about being wealthy, being rich. It's no way around it. And it is never entertaining poorness. It's never entertaining poverty. Never. You can never entertain that if you're going to be that. I promise you all. I'm not in the position I'm in because I think about poverty. Period. I think about helping people. And that doesn't mean giving people something for nothing. There's no such thing as something for... There's no such thing. You got to take in... You got to take in oxygen to give out carbon monoxide. You got to take in something to give out something. Same thing with the trees. It's a reciprocal relationship with the universe. So, just want to point that out to you all. There's no such thing as something for nothing. So this right here, me giving out on YouTube, is to do what my mentors and other rich people say is not worth doing. And that means reaching out to people and saying, hey, you know what? I know that this information is not talked about, but it's in the Constitution. The Constitution says you can contract unlimited. So let's talk about contracts. And the trust is a contract. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with administering your life through a contract? You're already doing that with your social security number. But how many people know the rules of the social security number? How many people know that? They don't know that. They didn't even read the Social Security Act, but they utilizing the social security number. I read it. Readers are leaders. So it's very important to put yourself in a position where you're coming from a position of knowledge. Knowledge is reigning supreme right now. Period. They say we're in the information age, so why are you not reading? Why are you not studying? We live in the information age. So, point being is, this is the information I feel that is really going to keep America afloat, because everybody wants to sit here and talk about how the jobs are leaving. And guess what? Somebody's got to create those jobs. Let that be you. Then you can provide jobs. Okay? So that's my aim, is to put people in. That's why when the trust is set up, or a trust is set up, or some type of business entity is set up, it goes and gets a employer identification number. It's supposed to be a separate, distinct legal entity. It's separate from you, because you're a natural person, you have a legal person that's called a social security number, and then in turn there's a business entity that's called a legal person too. A corporation is a legal person, a S corp is a legal person, a trust is a legal person. They're all legal persons. So in turn, guess what those entities get? Those entities get excuse me, EIN numbers, employer identification numbers. Employer identification numbers. That means it's meant for you to employ people. It's not meant for you to be a sole proprietor, a disregarded entity. It's not about being a sole anything. It's about empowering other people through an EIN, an employer identification number. That's what it's all about. Thanks, Janine, for tuning in once again, Bomo. It says, can you recommend any good books, or is this the type of stuff you won't find in a book? Once again, like I typed into the chat, it was called a book called Express Trust Under the Common Law. That's a PDF that you can find, Expressed Trust Under the Common Law. But for the most part, like I say, it's private. That's why I created private trustee training. Is to gear individuals towards the fact that there's a clear distinction between public and private, and they don't mix. They don't mix at all. It might sound like it, but they don't. So, that's important, is to understand, look, I got to really focus on getting into a position of privacy. Otherwise, I'm pretty much going to be left out in the public doing my best. And think about what you've been doing so far in your life, doing your best, But the information is not called private for no accidental reason. It's for a reason. Brian Lewis, I'm definitely excited you're in. Peace and blessings. I have a question, but I'm sure they're only something that will reveal itself in conciliation. What are you talking about directly, Trey Stone? I'll stay on for you to write your question out. But like I say, if you all want to get a consultation, that's your first step. hfrn.vault@gmail.com. And for my YouTube audience, that's a special thing, because like I say, prices have changed, and training is closed. Like, I don't need to be doing a lot of consultations, because I did an episode every day in August letting people know about trustee training in the next semester that I hold. I hold trustee training in blocks and periods, so I can make sure that people are getting the knowledge and info that they need in the training, because I walk with people one-on-one to make sure that they understand how to be a trustee. That's a class. It's trustee training. It is a continuing education program. It's a society of people that are working together. So there is a training period, and that is what I facilitate. So doing consultations is not the highest priority at one point, and that is right now. So I look forward to serving you all, but at the end of the day, just be prepared that there is, the fees have definitely changed. If you sent the email previously, things have changed. So just very, very important to understand that. So hfrn.vault@gmail.com. Welcome to the vault.com for past episodes. I look forward to serving you all in the capacity that I can do as a trustee trainer. That's the most important aspect, is learning how to own nothing, control everything. And clearly, Roy Seabag from the GoldMoney company is doing that, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Own nothing, control everything. So I look forward to you all joining me in the private and working with our private community. Otherwise, I will see you on the chat and look forward to hearing from you soon. Otherwise, peace and blessings, and thank you for tuning in.